Decades or centuries ago you were blessed by a magical creature. Every 7 years, you become 7 years younger. That would be fine and good if you weren't 15 when you received this. 15. A number, a mere digit, an arbitrary marker of youth to most. But for me, it's a prison sentence. Decades ago, a creature, or perhaps a trick of fate, blessed me with a curse. I do not have any recollection of the incident, but I simply feel it within me. It's as if my perception to the weight of time had been put to a halt, and had instead been replaced by a certain lingering dread. Before the first rewind, perhaps I was still in denial. At 22, and even the years preceding, I thought, no way I'd go back to being 15. It was a heavy burden. It feels as if you were miserably clinging onto a sliver of hope that you passed an exam as the results still aren't out despite knowing full well you guessed its entirety, except on a catastrophically different scale. I lived, every day, for 7 years, with the weight of that burden imposed on me. I remember the day it started. A summer's eve, fireflies winking like lost stars. I was 22, brimming with the brash confidence of being a fresh grad youth. And then, a whisper, a touch, and the world tilted. I was 15 again. Every 7 years, I rewind. I'm the Benjamin Button of the mundane, minus the charm and the dignity of aging. I was trapped in a perpetual adolescence, as the 7th rewind was drawing near. You know, my mother started as she sighed. The concept of unconditional love was truly put to the test watching you grow up. The crevice between my eyebrows deepened. For all too long she gave me her emotional support, but it appears that it's coming to a winding close real soon. I see. I feared as much, I murmured sadly. I bowed my head so deeply my neck probably looked like it might break. No, don't take it that way, she hastily corrected. You're going back to being my boy again in a few days, aren't you? I lifted my head up and met her forlorn gaze. I couldn't bear seeing her like this, wearing her oxygen mask, much less with the addition of her woeful gaze. I parted from her gaze in an instant. That's right, I answered. I couldn't quite help but cast my eyes anywhere but down. I'd much rather see my worn-down jeans than oxygen tanks or a heart rate monitor. 7th rewind, wasn't it? She asked inquisitively. I nodded, my eyes still downcast. Perhaps it was during your 3rd rewind did it dawn on me that I would never live to see any grandchildren. I, as a parent, wouldn't dare impose and force such a selfish wish on you, she added, taking a deep breath, and then continued. But you know, it's still a wish. My wish. One of my many wishes, in fact. And it's quite heart-wrenching. I know, I'm sorry. Don't be. There was a long silence. Seconds threatened to turn into minutes, but all I could do was stare down below and consider my plight. In her small, suffocating isolation room, it was quite easy to hold a conversation from a safe distance without raising one's voice. She's bedridden and her chances of making it out are up in the air. But that brings me back to my point, she said softly, breaking the once thought unbreakable silence. Her tone was different from her normal gruff self, as she spoke with such gentleness that it gave me the odd feeling that I missed something. The concept of unconditional love is romantic, no? I once thought that it was the standard, something not up for debate, especially for a mother and her child. But you proved me wrong. I couldn't, for the life of me, concoct a reply. And I believe that now knowing this gives my next words the weight of the world, she said. Though I was looking downwards, I could tell that her eyes were kept all on me. I love you, Malcolm. I really do. A large tear began forming in my eye as I found myself unconsciously standing up, walking, and reaching for her now wrinkled cheeks. I love you, Mom. I really do. She smiled fondly at the reply, as she soon closed her eyes and slept.